Da-da-da-da.
Hey everybody. Okay, so this is our first official on-screen meeting with the March Mavericks. And I am returning not as a team captain this time. I'm Madison, by the way. Every time I'm a team captain, I win, and it's no longer fair. So I have been removed from Steam can't talk team captain status, and this time I'm just sitting in the driver's seat as the MC, and I'm just here to hang out with my friends. So I am a huge fan of Keymark readathons because it's all about fun, it's all about just reading books, and it's about making new friends and connections. And personally, I'm just not super competitive, so it's always been a really good match for me, and it turns out it's a good match and a good setup for a lot of people. um, who would have thought a bunch of, fantasy nerd readers aren't incredibly competitive? Like, it's strange. But here we are. So this is,
Wait, I'm sorry. People are not competitive?
they exist. They
I
exist.
am I'm here for the competition only. Like if I can
Okay,
defeat people
I feel
by
it.
reading, that's what I'm here for.
I
I
know
mean,
how many
it
books
is a
Andy
superpower.
reads, and I can't compete. So I'm just going to sit in the background and be like, "Hi, I'm here."
All right, well, on that, let's introduce everybody because we've already have some major personalities coming out, and I love that. All right, so our theme, all of our team captains this year are authors, and they're authors that are, pretty cool because they're books that I love or books that I'm highly anticipating. So I know all of my Keymark friends are also pretty stoked to like brush elbows and hang out with some of the cool authors that we admire and, fangirl over a bit. So we're starting off with Big Andy, Andy Peliquin. Andy has written what, 700 books at this point? Something in
That's
that range.
you know
Okay.
what? We're gonna stick with 400 because I can't take credit for all the the smut that's been published under my nom de plume.
Yeah, I don't want to oversell it. I'm excited because I'm actually starting my first Andy Peliquin novel today or tomorrow. Whenever I finish up my current read, I'm going to start with Darkblade Assassin. The cover really sold it to me because it has Jason Momoa on the cover, and I was like, headcanon done. Yeah, right there. Look at that. Tell me
Nice
that's
job, Rob.
not Jason Momoa. So I'm pretty pumped about that. We talked about this. We have maybe you guys can pipe in the comments. What should we refer to our beloved AR Witham? Should we go with the whole mouthful AR Witham? Should we call him? We got Big Andy. Should we go Little Andy? I
Oh
don't
yeah,
know. I don't like that. I
I
don't like
like
that.
Little Andy. I think Little Andy's perfect.
We should go with just Witham. I always wished I had friends growing up that like all the adults called them by their last name, and I thought that was cool. Like I think it's cool when someone's like, "Yo, what's up with them?" So I never had that, so maybe we can just go with that.
I don't think anyone in college knew my actual name. They just knew my surname, and that was it.
All right, well
Witham.
then I'm gonna go with that. It seems natural. We have Rob J. Hayes. I have only read Never Die, but it was a big hit for me, and it's one of those things I don't know why I haven't read the rest. So this is gonna be the perfect opportunity for me to just plow through a couple more because I really, really liked what I read. And then Shauna Lawless, and I have had that book on my shelf for way too long. But this is why I love readathons. This is like the perfect excuse to just jump in and read it. And we have a pretty good sized group hyped up, and it's going to be our first book in March. So I want you guys just to go around and talk for a second about, why did you decide to do this? I mean, I know why you're going to come back because it's so fun. And this is just like the highlight of my year. We usually do about twice a year, and it's fun every time. So I'll start with Rob. What did little Andy do to get you to say yes to hosting, or excuse me, team captaining a readathon?
Uh, to be completely honest, he just asked me. That was it. That was all it took. He was just like, "Hey, do you want to do a readathon?" And I was like, "Sure, yeah, why
There
not?"
we go. Saying yes, see what happens. I like that.
I'm easy. What do you want?
We're so happy to have you. Shauna,
Thank you.
is this your first
Well,
readathon experience? Have you done one of these before?
um, not with Keymark, and not for a long time. Like a long, long time have I been part of a readathon. But the reason why I accepted when Andy asked was because I have been in the most terrible, terrible reading slump. I went through about maybe 6 months of like not really reading a book or clicking with a book, and that's not me. That is like I read 30 books a year normally. And so the last 6 months really upset me that I felt like I've sort of lost a bit of my personality. And I think, but a lot of it was I was so busy with my own books. And I think when you're editing your own work all day, reading in the evening isn't maybe just so appealing. You kind of feel like you need to do something else. So
I
anyway,
can see that.
yeah. So, but I'm drafting at the minute. I'm not editing. So I was like, yes, I need an excuse. I need to get back into it. I've got loads of books. Like I've been sent lots of arcs and stuff that I really, really would like to read. So when I was asked, I was like, this is some sort of, what do you call it? Divine intervention that somebody's asked me to do a readathon just as I have decided I need to get back into reading. So that's why I said yes.
Yes, well, I really hope it can like give you the spark you need to kind of get excited again. Because I think we've all been there. Like, I don't know if I've ever had a 6-month slump, but I also don't have a really cool like writing career driving me to stay focused on anything else. But we've all had slumps, and I do feel that like coming back to the reading community and like getting your friends involved is always a good way to kind of make it fun and exciting again. So good.
Yeah.
All right, Andy Peliquin, hello.
He said the word competition with reading, and I was like, I mean, everything I do is competitive, very, very quietly competitive. I will not be very overt in my competition, except for the people who know me well. But boy, oh boy, I get to read and win points and make everybody else look bad. I mean, have a good time with everybody. I'm in.
Perfect. I love that. And with them, we know why you're here, but are you super excited to kind of like take on a different role this time and be a team captain?
I just think it's cool to like be like in the same block with these 3 other authors. Like, I'm just going to insert myself there and go like, what here? One of these things doesn't belong.
No way.
I think I'm looking forward to hanging out with the authors. Is the number one thing. The competition, I think, is great because it's 5 books, and most people can pull off 5 books in 1 month. Obviously, we've got people on the teams that are reading 20 and 25, and I think the record is 31 in 1 month, which is just astounding.
Book a day.
Right? It's a book a day, and it's just like, okay, we're going to score everybody on their first 5 books and make sure we did that, because that way everybody feels like they have an opportunity to compete.
It's the first 5 books, not 5 books that we choose at random to put up for score.
Any 5 books that match the prompt.
You can do any 5 books during the month.
Okay,
so
good.
If you end up reading, 11, you can just go back and go, okay, let me see which ones match my prompts the best and fill in the holes as you go. We did have some people last year that did that. They wanted to sit back and let all their reading happen, and then they wanted to plug in the holes, and it does cause for some interesting point jumps when it looks like no one's clocking, and all of a sudden it's like boom, a big insert. I'm like, oh, that's what happened. They were trying to be very strategic with their points, and all is fair, so go for it.
All's fair in love and war.
I personally am going to see since I'm not going to be on a team this year or contributing to a team's points, I'm going to see if I can black out one of every prompt.
Oh, wow.
We'll see.
Nice.
Probably
So blackout is a
but
completely different meaning to me. I was like, yeah. That's easy enough.
we'll see
fine.
what happens.
6 shots will do the trick.
One of each prompt, but I don't know. What are there? 10 prompts? 10 books might be a bit of a stretch for me because
10 books.
Well, because I have 2,000+ page books planned for next month, so we'll see. Probably not, but it's good to have lofty goals.
Hey, speaking of the 10 prompts, you probably get those somewhere up. No, that's incorrect.
Oh, good. Yes. If he's going to show them on screen, then I can already be planning my read while y'all are talking.
Yes.
Right. Actually, Andy is going to read all of these books before this video is over.
I got to save something for after. Like, not everything.
Right. Well, and one of the reasons we want to really advocate indie authors, so you get a bonus point for reading any indie book. But we also know that people don't necessarily have 5 indie books lined up that they're rip-roaring and ready to go with right now. So all of the other prompts apply to almost anything else that you could possibly be reading right now.
I love that. And I was talking to some guys on Keymark earlier, and we decided that we are thinking we're going to read The Way of Edan by Philip Chase next month. But of course, since we haven't read it yet, we're like, how do we know what prompts it fits with? So I reached out to him, and this is what I love about the way we do prompts for this particular style of readathon is they're so vague, you guys. Like, no one has any reason to say no. Because so when Philip got back to me, he was like, oh, it'll work for this, or this. I'm like, see, no excuse. Read whatever book you want. And then the team captains and all the bosses over at Keymark, like, we'll help you make it work. So just read what you want to read and like, let's make it work so you can participate. So don't let the idea of your TBR being controlled by these prompts detour you, because you can make it work. So whatever you want to read, there's probably a prompt that'll work for it.
Yeah. And in the Keymark Big Library, there is a series of books that are in there, and all of the prompts for March Mavericks are available. So you can go through books and tag them and go, oh, this would work for this. Oh, this would work for this. So it becomes easier for people to find stuff that work.
Cool. So what do you guys have? Like, do you have something next month that you're absolutely going to read? Like, I like to leave room for my mood to kind of, take the wheel if it needs to. But I always have a couple things that I'm like, no matter what, like, I definitely want to get to that. Like, what's your most anticipated read for March? And what prompt will it fit?
I'm reading one from every captain. That's my starter goal. So I'm going to have an Andy book, a Shauna book, a Rob book, and then I know I'm reading Lions of Al Rasan. Beyond that, 5th book is still in play. Dude, I can't wait. I seriously can't wait.
You're going to love it, Andy.
It is the best. It is the best of all Guy Rilke's books that I've read to date. But from what I hear, most of the people who love his stuff, they're like, Lions of Al Rasan is just, it's amazing. And I love the Reconquista era of the Iberian Peninsula. So getting that flavor, spectacular.
Yeah. And it's a super cool way to incorporate European thematics into a fantasy book without making them Norse or English or French. It's like a smaller corner. It's like, okay, I haven't seen anybody play in this game before.
Guy Rilke is very good at that in general. It always feels a little bit like, oh, this is familiar because I remember this from history, but it doesn't feel familiar like it's King Arthur. He's good at that. It's nice.
And team captains, just so you know, this is the type of question you will get constantly. I want to know if shapeshifters count as animal companions.
I want to know if robots count as animal companions.
Are they animal-shaped robots? Are we dealing with like R2-D2 style?
Just a robot, just like a little robot. Like, does that count as a animal companion? What about spirits? Do they count as animal companions?
Right. And as always, I think the answer is yes.
Yeah. I was like, technically not all companions are animals, but I mean, I don't like saying no, so sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, Medic is might do the same thing. I like that idea. I don't want to limit it to just the team captains, but certainly, I want to do it because I'm very grateful that they're willing to be here. There we go. Ariana has K9 from the Tom Baker days as definitely an animal companion robot.
Both questions answered in one right there.
I mean, K9 is shaped like a dog.
For those of us who remember Tom Baker.
We're old.
A deep cut.
Yeah.
Rob, what are you reading next month that has you excited?
So I've got a few lined up. I'm intending to, because I'm probably going to be doing at least half my books via Audible, audiobook, because I'm a very slow reader, but I do tend to get through audiobooks a bit faster because I like to listen to books when I'm walking the dog, or when I'm off out for a run, or just hoovering the house. You'd be amazed when I get to like a really good audiobook that I'm enjoying, I'll find excuses. I'll be like, I'm going to go hoover the house because I get to listen for an extra 30 minutes.
Absolutely.
So my next one is actually the newest League of Legends novel, which is, I believe it's called Ambessa. I can't remember. I'll have to have a look. There we go. Ambessa, Chosen of the Wolf by C.L. Clarke. Because it's just come out, and I'm a fan of League of Legends anyway, and I'm also a fan of C.L. Clarke. So I wanted to give that one a go.
Very cool.
And then I'm also, I've got this one that I'm intending to read. That'll be my first physical book.
Oh, thanks, Rob.
Yeah, if you were ever looking for an opportunity to read of Gods and Fighting Men, Children of Gods and Fighting Men, now's your opportunity.
Now's the time.
I think we've got 10 people lined up to read it right off the bat.
Oh, wow. That's
I think
wonderful.
so.
Thanks, everyone, for giving it a chance.
Yeah, I'm pumped. In fact, I bought that book years ago, and I let my mom borrow it, and she loved it. And then she was constantly like, hey, about that book. And I was like, oh, I still haven't got to it. So finally, even my mom got to it before me. Big Andy, what you got? I'm sorry.
That's good. As I was just saying, I always share books with my mom as well. So it's always good then to, once you get around to reading it, you can have a good conversation about the books that you've read together.
Absolutely. What you got, Big Andy?
So I am doing a buddy read of The Spear Cuts Through Water with someone on Instagram and TikTok, which I have heard amazing things about. I've heard it's also kind of a strange writing style. So we'll see if it works, but I'm going to be doing like the live updates of the read. Good. And then Destin J. Munden, a friend of mine, he reached out to me to read an ARC of his new cozy fantasy that's been picked up by Bindery Books. And I have his Tavern book on my shelf. I've had it for like a year, meaning to read it. Keep telling him, hey, I'm going to read it. Haven't gotten a chance. And then, of course, I've been meaning to read Shauna's books for the month, however many months it's been since I joined Instagram and saw it everywhere. So this is the perfect excuse.
Oh, exciting. Cool. Anybody in the comments, what you chomping for? And it's funny because it's only a couple more days in the month, but I keep finding myself being like, is it March yet? Because I'm so excited. I'm excited to see who's going to be on what teams, how it's going to be divided. And it is nice because you can be as involved or as you want, but man, it's nice just to hop into your group every day, and it's just like so fun. It's quick how quickly you kind of become this little tight-knit family. And next thing you know, you're like, hey, by the way, are you going to send me that lasagna recipe? And it just becomes like a real like homey environment. And it's just nice to have that, because I always say this, like, we're grown-ups and sometimes our lives are so serious, we know, because they are. Like, we have our jobs, like we have our kids, we have to maintain a whole household. Like, who has time for like real friends and like something that's just for them? And this kind of is a chance to do that. And it's convenient because it's in your phone and it's something you're already doing, reading books, but it's just nice to, on the side, actually make meaningful connections and get real friends out of it and do something that's kind of just for you. So that's why I keep coming back, is it's nice to have some grown-up time with my book friends.
Right. And I love the idea that like you come into so many people in contact with so many people in the book community, and you're like, oh, I like this and I like this. And to me, like when you spend a month with somebody and learning about what they like and what they don't, it's like, oh yeah. Okay, I know exactly what you like. I know why you like it. And okay, I'm going to listen to what you have to recommend and put it high up on the TBR because I know you better now. So it's much easier to take a recommendation from somebody who's become a friend.
Yep, I get so many of my TBR contenders now from scrolling through it. Even if I'm not actively interacting with that person, I'm like, oh, this person was on my team a couple readathons ago, and every book they've ever recommended to me is just fire. You just get to know their preferences, so it's just like an easy recommendation source for sure. And then you get to recommend books to them too. And I just love that. Like, what's better than telling someone like, oh, you're going to love this. And I know you're going to love it because I know what you like. And then they like it. And it's just like, that's the best feeling.
That's the best bit, when they come back and be like, I read that book. It's brilliant. And you're like, yes,
it's not just me. I'm not alone.
It's nice.
However, what's bad is when they steal that book. Like I lent Assassin's Apprentice to my sister. I never got that book back.
Oh no!
Sorry, I went and
That's a
bought
good
another
point.
copy because it's Robin Hobb.
I'll tell you what. So I have a massive library, but I don't like lending my books out. But when I find a book that's like, this is one of my favorite books ever, I'm going to constantly recommend it to people. I will be the like obnoxious person that's always talking about this book. I go out of my way to find really cheap copies of it so I can give it to people and just do not expect it back. Because I'm like, you're not getting my special editions or my first editions or my even any of them. But I do have these ones I picked up at the library sale or whatever. I do that with Assassin's Apprentice. I always have a copy of it that I'm not going to be sad if it doesn't come back to me. But I've yet to have one person in real life actually read Robin Hobb based off of my recommendations. And it's very sad to me. A lot of book people have read it because of my coercion, but never anybody in real life. So I'm just waiting for the day.
I have forced my entire family to read it.
You're good. How do you do it? You're
was like,
good.
Both my sisters, you're having a copy of this book. My mother, you're having a copy of this book. Just everybody.
I need to be more aggressive, is what you're saying.
I mean, it helps that all my family read fantasy. But, you know, well, apart from my dad, but he doesn't read anymore.
Here we go. Oh, Century Blade.
Oh, that was a short story.
That's right. Century Blade is one of the few books that wouldn't fit because they
It's
had
already 7,000 words long, so no.
Right.
Oh, is there like word count limits for points?
So-
There is, isn't there?
We figured out the easiest way to do it was to establish if it is on Goodreads and 200 pages or over, that counts. Everything under doesn't count. So it became a very hard and fast line that was easy to accomplish, that stopped people from asking captains constantly whether their book counted or not.
But
Okay,
what if
perfect.
you're reading an arc like Andy is, and it's not on Goodreads, so it doesn't have a page count yet?
Well, I think that means Big Andy's kicked out of the competition, right? I mean, he can't possibly win at that point.
Well,
Yeah,
then fuck the person who sent me the arc. I'm reading to win.
Save it for next month. No.
Exactly.
I
As long
believe
as
we
you
can
promise
trust
to write
you
a
on page
review.
count.
Well, so if it doesn't hit any of the things, then I'm not even going to bother counting it. I'm just going to read something else to make up for it.
Oh, it'll count for something. Yeah, absolutely. Arcs count. Yeah, and it's one of those,
Yeah.
it's one of those. I guess it's a flexible rule because we haven't really had much debate about arcs yet. So
Yeah, I would say, I mean, one of the other points and the reasons we like to do this is to get those reviews on Goodreads, because you guys know as authors, like, how important is it to you that someone they don't just read your book, they don't just recommend it to people, but you really do want them to clock that on Goodreads and give it a little review, right? Like, that helps you a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, it really helps with visibility, and I think it helps with like other people giving your book a chance.
Yeah.
If they see, it's got a lot of like reviews on Goodreads. So yeah, so it is good. And the other thing is, because the Gale Song is traditionally published, like, I know my publisher looks at things like that as well.
Mhm.
And so definitely for getting like follow-on series, it's important, as to, to give your publisher confidence, I guess. That
Absolutely.
maybe they should take on more books from you in this series. So it is very important, actually. Because I suppose, like, there's a lot of people out there who are big fans of certain authors, and they always ask, what can you do to help authors? And honestly, it's free. It takes you like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And it's like really such a helpful thing to do. Like, it's on Goodreads, it's on Amazon, it's on like Storygraph, or like anywhere. Even a post on your Facebook feed, any sort of review is so helpful.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of why we made the Goodreads the standard, is because we want people to like kind of filter through there for your benefit. But for an arc, you're going to write a review anyway, because like it's a review copy. So you're going to come back around, you're going to write a review. So yes, it counts.
Yeah, absolutely.
I need a gavel. Boom. Decided.
Boom, it counts. Well, and that's one of the great things is because there's so many great readers out there and that are part of the community that don't necessarily know how important it is to slap some stars on it. Because even if you don't have time to write a review, or you don't feel like writing a review, or you're anxious about it, the stars count as well, right?
Yep.
The ratings, okay, add a star on Amazon, cool. Add a couple stars on Goodreads, cool. All of that counts, and as those numbers climb up, the author becomes more visible. So you don't have to write 3 insightful paragraphs about what you just read. You can just go 4, 5 stars, go. That's really all you need to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and it
book
works.
good, made me smile, made
Book
me cry. Yeah, book good. Like, you just read a couple sentences.
Traders we are, Roberti, that'll work. Oh, Ariana says it's difficult and annoying to post reviews. You get to the end of the book and the thing pops up and says, "What do you think?"
Yeah, it depends though, doesn't it? Because I think they've changed things now, so you have to be a verified purchaser of the book to write the review.
Yeah,
which kind of makes it a bit awkward.
And Amazon irritates me too, because sometimes you'll see that it'll be like 1 star. My package was ruined and my book was torn, and they're reviewing the experience of shopping through Amazon, and they're not reviewing the book. And I'm just like, that's not what they mean. But usually it's review this product, and that's where you go to bitch about, your book being delivered to your neighbor's house or something. I'm like, no, this is supposed to be book reviews. So yeah, Amazon can be a bit tricky.
Don't they own Goodreads these days as well?
They do. They do. I don't think they've
probably
ever
why
put
Goodreads hasn't actually been updated in about 5 years and is an absolutely terrible website, but let's not talk about that.
Yeah,
We're
Amazon.
not putting money into that.
If they could just put a little bit of money into Goodreads, it could be a pretty neat resource. But they just are hell-bent on keeping
Only
it.
somebody was building a competitive site to Goodreads.
If only. I mean, are you guys okay if I mention it?
What would that site be?
Plug away.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know what this tongue-in-cheek allusion was, I'm working with someone to build a site called littlestack.com, that is basically a modernized and user-friendly alternative to Goodreads, where you can go and find authors and add their books to your TBR and your already read list. And it's been a lot of fun to do. We're still in the beginning stages, so we still have, 25,000 authors left to add. There's too goddamn many of us authors. I'm just going to say that, having manually added, we're at like 1,300 authors added into the system manually, and there's still just way too many more. So it's very much a work in progress, but it's a really fun and easy way to organize your TBRs. And I'm getting a couple of features added in that will make it basically the ultimate TBR organizer solution, which is what I need. Right now, I'm keeping my TBR organized in a draft in my Gmail inbox, which is driving me absolutely mad. So just being able to do that somewhere else that's not my inbox is literally the driving force behind this site's entire creation. Talk about petty reasons to do something.
Sounds exciting.
So what I heard is, if you want to help littlestack.com today, start killing authors, because we need fewer of them.
Well, no, kill them before they publish, because all the ones who are already published, we have to add them in.
You have to have them.
Hunt an author down and stop them from publishing.
Kill their dream. So what you're saying is we could just kill their dreams. We could just say, you shouldn't write the book.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll make
There's
my
enough
job
books.
a whole lot easier.
Okay. I'm taking notes from everything I'm learning here today.
Right.
Kill dreams of future authors. Got it. The next generation doesn't stand a chance. Indie Stork. Greek is good. Oh, geek. Indie Stork geek.
Whole big, Rob does a good job on his newsletter.
My monthly list isn't a sort of like comprehensive list of indie books. It's literally just every month I put out a newsletter and a blog post which just lists some of the indie books that are releasing in that month. But it's far from comprehensive because it's literally driven by people telling me that their book is being released. Otherwise, I don't know.
Right.
So
You don't have a
but it's a good way to try and find some new authors.
Right. What was it? Reddit also does a good job of every year of doing a big indie thing, and they'll do a list of like 100 books. And people have the opportunity to vote them up and down. You can kind of see stuff bubble to the top. Like you'll see sort of Kaigen in there all the time.
Yeah, it was when you saw sort of Kaigen. It was like it started off sort of like around 10, and then it just went 1. We'll just sit there forever. Don't worry about it.
I would say
Don't tell Reddit they do a good job. That's dangerous. Never ever let them know.
When I heard you say Reddit does a good job with, I was like, where is this going? I can't imagine. I would say the rule that we get the most pushback about, and Andy, see if you agree with me, it would be no rereads. Do you want to talk about some of the
pushback on it this time?
You want to talk about some of the thought process behind that rule?
Yeah, kind of the idea is that if you're going to read 5 books in 1 month, you're out to explore, right? You're adventuring into uncharted territory. You're looking at new things. And at the end of the day, that's really what we want to do, is explore new things and new authors and give them a chance to go, hey, what does this feel like? What does this sound like? And then when you're in a competitive environment, as only Big Andy and I will be, you get to a point where you're like, hey, you know what? If you've already read a book, aren't you going to read it a lot faster than what you read it the first time? Yeah, you are.
True.
So it's kind of like, it feels like rereads are just like 30% cheating. Rob's shaking his head no.
I read the same speed, whether it's a reread or a new read. It's just like slowly reading every single word. Sometimes reading a paragraph another time, just because, I don't know, maybe I tuned out or I thought that paragraph needs to stick in my head a bit better. I'm a horribly slow reader.
Brother, you and me both. Audiobooks are my savior for things like this. Like I'll do 2. I don't do physical reads anymore. I do ebooks, but I'll do like 2 ebooks and like 3 audiobooks. Like coming back to Shauna, it's just like, I think, Shauna, please tell me I'm right, that Children of Gods and Fighting Men audiobook does have an Irish narrator.
Yes, and I think that's very good because a lot of the Irish names are difficult to pronounce. And I do have a pronunciation guide in my book, but I can always tell when people have read it physically versus audiobooks, because the audiobook readers pronounce everything perfectly. And even with the pronunciation guide, people who've read the physical book get things wrong. So if you like audiobooks, my narrator, Aoife, is absolutely brilliant. She's just fantastic. So you'll have a good time with the audiobook.
I'm pretty much audio exclusive, so I definitely will be listening to the audiobook. I am a rereader, so I understand when I get all the questions. So I probably fielded 6 or 7 questions about that already, which, by the way, I'm not complaining. That's what I'm here for. Keep coming with your questions. So I'm a rereader, especially this last 6 months or so. I've just been leaning into it, and it's been incredibly fun. So I understand the appeal, but to me, participating in this readathon, part of it is about maybe stepping outside of your comfort zone a little bit, or trying something that you're like, you know what, that has been on my TBR for a while, but I don't know why I keep pushing it off. Like I myself have said that already about some of your guys' books, where I'm like, oh, I've been meaning to get to that, but I just haven't. And so this is kind of my time to be like, you know what, I'm doing it this month. I'm going to do it because other people are doing it, because it's the perfect time, it fits the prompts, and I just don't want to push it off anymore. So I think that's kind of the spirit behind it too, is try something new. Like, don't do something that's easy necessarily. Do something that is just, it's so easy to get into ruts, and then ruts turn into
6 month long ruts.
Slumps.
Yeah.
So you don't get to a slump. Mix it up. Try something new.
Yeah.
Pull something off the shelf and, read a book you own, guys. You got books already. Everyone, we be buying books. We be buying too many books, guys. Read something on your TBR.
No. You
that.
cannot buy too many books.
They're like, no.
If If
From
the
what I hear-
author is Pelican, Hayes, or Lawless, you cannot buy too many books.
With them,
Just
don't
get on
count
it.
yourself out.
From what I hear, the official rule, like it's in law, like
Mhm.
in the world, is that you read one book, you reward yourself with 3 to 5 more. Like this is the law
Your
of
presence.
the TBR pile. So
Yeah.
just making sure that's clear
Book
to
math.
everybody.
It is
Yeah,
clear,
yeah.
and it is law.
I would say that's the point of having a home library, is not to read them all immediately. It's so that you have choices when you're in the mood. So yeah, I don't think we need to catch up on our TBRs. That'd be crazy. But every now and then it's good to intentionally kind of chisel away at it. Otherwise, you forget why you even wanted to read those books in the first place. Like at some point, somebody recommended that to you. It sounded so good that you said yes and you bought it. You wanted to read it. It's still there 3 years later. Girl, read it.
Right. And
Read
it
it.
sucks when they start
I've got books on my TBR that have been there for about 6 years.
Yeah. It's like when they
Might
got
like it.
dust on them, it's like, ooh.
See, I solved that problem by keeping them boxed up in my closet. That way, no dust gathers.
Okay, Andy, you have to
Mm-mm.
read
Mm-mm.
more than any of us per month, right? Because Rob's like me, maybe 3 a month is normal.
3 is good going for me.
Good going. Shauna, how about you?
Well, normally I read around 30 books a year. So I'm going to say like that's 2.5 to 3, depending on the month and the size of the book. Because I see the last big reading thing I did, it was Tad Williams.
Oh, yeah.
Austin Ard, and I feel like that trilogy should have counted as like 10 books because they were like so big, especially the third one, which was in 2 volumes, which I didn't realize at first.
Yeah, I think it's like 700,000 words or something. It's really crazy.
Yeah, that took a
Seems
while.
like it's
to
one
get
book.
through. Yeah.
Having gone through the entire Stormlight archives last year, I understand your pain.
Yeah. So whenever you're reading something like that, like, and I do read a lot of epic fantasy. So when I say 30 a year, there normally is some like kind of big
boys,
big books in that. Yeah.
Chunky boys in there. So
Yeah.
Rob and Shauna and I are kind of in the same boat. And then Andy's on a cruise liner. How many books are you reading per month, average?
It changes from month to month depending. So last month was pretty nuts. This month is pretty nuts. I've got Emerald City Comic Con the first weekend of March. So I will read less, but I will say on average I do like 8 to 12 books a month, depending. Like if we're dealing with the big chunky books, it's a hard one. Now you get books like Rob's the Titan Hopper series. These books are just meant to be binged. I read the 3 Titan Hopper books in like 4 days.
Yeah.
Because they're that good. When you find a book that's just so enjoyable, you want to spend time, kind of like someone was saying, you make excuses to go and run or drive or work out or whatever so you can listen to the audio. I cut myself off from video games a few years back because I got just way too into The Witcher, where it was like I was skipping work, I was not, going to the gym, just one more round of Gwent. That was kind of the motto. And as soon as I realized what I was doing, I was like, okay, I'm stopping. So all of my energy kind of goes into reading now. And reading is how I take a break between writing sessions, and it tires my eyes out. So I take a 20-minute nap so I'm fresh again. So I end up getting about an hour and a bit of reading every day. That kind of helps me get through that many books. But then you get these big, long books, and you can't get through that many in a month.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fantastic. So your percentage of audiobooks is extremely low?
Very, very low, surprisingly, because I have been doing other things to where I can't go to the gym for more than an hour a day. So I get an hour a day of audio, but that translates to like half as much as I read because I'm a speed reader. So I think I haven't finished an audiobook in like a month and a half.
Right. Yeah, I felt the same way about Titan Hoppers. Unfortunately, I read it with my son. So I could only read it with him on audio when he was in the room and ready to read. So it took like 2 months.
Yeah.
We had a great time, but it took way longer than it would have.
I think something that I found last year, which was lovely, was the immersion reading, where you listen and read at the same time because you absorb so much more and so much faster.
That's my favorite.
It's spectacular, and I'm seriously considering doing that with Shauna's because I love the right pronunciation for things. Like with John Gwynn's the Shadow of the Gods series, you want the correct, Nordic pronunciation to all those words and things. So I think I'm
No, you don't. What you do is you read through and you just make up whatever. So every time they have the Ragnarok thing, I just read it as the good fella.
You know what's funny is that I watch a lot of the terms from the whole Shadow of the Gods series. I got from watching Norsemen, the Netflix TV show, because they use the words like the neathings and things like that. They use that kind of cursing and all that terminology in it. So I actually knew that, but it was from Norsemen, which was just the absurd
a spoof show.
Yeah, I loved it, and I was like, okay,
It's
that
funny.
show was super useful.
That's funny. I do the same thing. I read a lot of Bernard Cornwell, and when I'm audioing, I'm just vibing. I'm like, yeah, these names are normal. And I open the book and I'm like, there's too many consonants in the wrong places. And why are there these dots over all the vowels? And I don't know what any of this says. It's like it's in a different language. All those
Why is the A always before the E?
Yeah, right. This is blowing my mind. So when I'm listening, got no problems. I'm open that book. I'm just like, I'm going to stick with all audio on this one. Yeah. But when you do that immersion audio, you feel like almost like a superhuman because you're like, I know how to spell this and pronounce it. I am unstoppable.
Yeah, I know I'm going to be that way with Shauna's because guaranteed I would just be like, and conformative. Okay, good.
100%. It's the only way you get through these things. You just kind of make a sound shape in your head,
right?
And you run with it, and that's enough. You don't need to know the correct pronunciation to enjoy it until someone says, "Oh, did you know about this character?" And you're like, "No."
Who?
This isn't true at all. I've just opened to a random page, and there's somebody called King Brian.
I like it.
Normal names. That's it. That's all it is.
Perfect. You got an Irish king named Brian? Done. We're all taken care of.
Yeah, well, that's unusual. Like, Brian was a very unusual name in Ireland at the time he was alive, and there's like a lot of debate as to where the name came from. So it's like very like usual name now, but it wasn't back then. It was actually a strange name for someone to have. But yeah, no, the Irish names are usually hard because we only have I think it's like 19 letters in our alphabet. So which is why like letter combinations make different sounds. So like there's lots of, and then also some of my characters are historical, so I couldn't purposefully pick easier names, which I tried to do elsewhere. But with the historical characters, obviously those names and those characters exist. So
I love that though. Authenticity.
And I'm with Andy on the word shapes in your head. Like if I can't pronounce it, okay. Like I'll get the first two letters and I'll go, oh, okay, that person is these first two letters. And I am great until we introduce another character that starts with the first two letters.
Yeah.
Like I'm never going to be able to figure this out.
Oh, yeah. Challenge, Shauna.
Oh, list a few names.
List your three worst.
Right. So probably the worst pronunciation to letter combination in my book is one of the characters is called Turlock, but it's pronounced Tairdelbach.
Get out of here.
Yeah. So that gets a lot of raised eyebrows, but it's like an older Irish spelling, and that's the pronunciation of it, so that makes it even more difficult. Another funny one is one of the main characters is called Murka, which is Murchad. So a lot of people mispronounce it as Murchad.
Murchad.
Yeah.
Nice. Murchad.
Yeah, it's like very American sounding guy in medieval Ireland.
No, in America they just pronounce it Murka.
How do you pronounce it if there is a lowercase g before an uppercase C? Because there's King Dal G case.
Yes, so you pronounce the G then.
Okay, but not the C.
No. These are the intricacies of Irish grammar. Yeah, and you don't like you have those with place names, and there's like different letters you put before other letters, it's very complicated. This is why Irish is just so difficult to learn. I've tried to learn Irish like properly twice, because I did it at school and I found it so hard at school, and then I tried it again when I was older. And I kind of get to like a kind of borderline conversational point, and then I find it quite difficult to move beyond that, because it's just the grammar is so hard. And
Wow.
like words are pronounced differently, but it's the same words depending on context, so that makes it like even harder.
Yeah, and you would have an upper hand over most people, I would think. And if it's hard for you, that must just be a really difficult language to like immerse
Yeah.
in and completely understand it.
It is. Once you learn the grammar rules, it's a bit easier, but there's quite a few that are hard. But it's like it's my big thing that I really want to push myself beyond where I've got to with learning Irish, because I have a few friends who are fluent in Irish, and it just is so beautiful whenever they speak or they sing in Irish. And so yeah, I'm really going to push myself like over the next couple of years to get to a better level of fluency.
That's so neat. I'm impressed anytime people are bilingual or multilingual. My American brain just cannot. I have spent many dollars and hundreds of hours on like Duolingo and Babbel and stuff, and I feel like I'm doing good when I'm like playing the games with the apps, and then when someone's like, "Hey, tell me a word," I'm like, "Oh, I don't know any." I'm so bad at it. So I think
Yeah.
that's super impressive.
Yeah, and the thing, it's also hard, I find, because I can read Irish a lot better than I can speak it. Because I think when you're learning a language, you're always embarrassed if you say things wrong.
It's true.
You know, whereas the best way to learn any language is just to speak it. Like where I live, there's a lot of bun schools, which are Irish language schools. So a lot of children are growing up now bilingual, and like they're so good at it, like from such a young age. And it's just speaking. You know, you're going to a classroom and you're hearing it every day, and it just completely goes in. That's what I need to do.
Kids are so efficient at learning.
Yeah.
I wish I had a little baby brain that could just learn new things.
Sponge. Yeah. Soak it all in.
It's true. One of the rereads I'm doing next month is in December, I decided to start a Wheel of Time reread, and out of nowhere, a bunch of friends jumped in. Oh, I love myself. And well, the problem is I'm having a great time. Like, and it's funny because I read Wheel of Time so early in my fantasy reading journey that I wasn't sure how it would hold up anymore, how it would age in my mind. But surprisingly, I have so much more respect for it after reading so much of what was inspired by Wheel of Time since then. I have like so much, like it's only improved in my mind. So I'm excited for that, but it is a little daunting when every month you remember that you have another enormous book to read. And you're like, oh yeah, I have to read that 1,000-page book too. So that's the thing with rereads and getting on a schedule, is you don't want to get yourself into the point where you're like, I've got so many books I haven't read yet. So as long as it stays fun, I'm going to keep doing that. But I have a really exciting March TBR. So I'm excited for all the books I have, but that's the one that I'm kind of like, am I going to do it? But I don't know. I've committed, and I've got a bunch of friends doing it with me. So I'm going to do it.
Nice.
And we'll see if you'll find a lot of books conflating together, like Shauna's already has, where it's just like, oh yeah, I'm going to read that. Oh yeah, I want to read that. Okay, now we've got 5 people. All of a sudden, we're going to read it. So you get to talk to each other about what you're experiencing during the course. And then you get into arguments. It's wonderful.
But I do love that about Keymark, though, is it is so nice. Like, there is bookish drama out there. And some of these Discords get a little iffy. But, like, I love Keymark because everyone's just so nice. And there's no drama there. So that just makes it so fun.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. I don't like it when there's drama on like anything to do with reading.
We don't play like that.
Keep the drama on the page. And yes, audiobooks count. So, team captains, do you have any questions about the competition itself? You guys have looked through the rules, but just want to give the opportunity to go, hey, I'm not quite sure about this, or what about this type of thing? Do you have any questions?
Why does everybody else have a team channel in the Discord and I don't?
You have a team channel.
Aw.
I'm not allowed in my own team channel. Is that what's going on here?
We're keeping you out. Let's take a look at permissions. Oh, and now it's no longer a private channel. Well, that would help. Save changes and Hayes.
Okay,
Team
I can
Hayes.
see it.
No.
Oh, and we don't assign teams before the 28th because people can start acting like they're enemies before the thing starts. But once the competition starts, each one of your team captain channels will be only accessible by your team.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever you're saying to your team in that channel is just for them.
And the moderators.
And the moderators, obviously.
So all the smack talk begins once the channels are closed. Then it's safe.
Right.
And we will still have our community channel that says just March Mavericks.
March Mavericks, that's for everybody.
That's where the most fun trash talk happens, honestly.
Excellent.
Is you
True.
get together in the
Trash
morning, you're like,
talk
hey, let's go gang
with,
up
like,
on everybody. Gift bombs and hilarious remarks, especially the day after a scoreboard episode. You know, it gets feisty. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's where that's like the courtyard where you take all your trash talk and rumble.
Well, and I just to share common knowledge, part of the trick is trying to make sure that you're not last in a scoreboard, because for the teams that finish last, everybody's kind of spending the week looking uphill, and it's gonna happen to somebody, right? And the rah needs to really build up when you're in last place, because everybody's like, oh gee, I don't know if we can make it. Oh, I don't know if are gonna win. So, like pushing everybody to turn in their points before the scoreboard is muy importante.
Okay.
Keep the morale up.
Okay, I'm looking forward to that. I like being part of a team. I'm not like super competitive, like Andy, but I don't know. I'm quietly competitive.
Yeah. But it's nice to have your crew, like to have everybody behind your back cheering you on, like that. You can be, not like aggressively competitive and still enjoy the like, oh no, we got this mentality.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or you can be aggressively competitive.
Either way works. Andy's
my team's reading more books than your team, Neener.
Neener.
That's the
You guys
kind of
have
schoolyard
any-
energy that I'm bringing.
Do you guys have any tactics? Okay. Andy with him is bringing a weapon. He is bringing a replica of Nepantha, the weapon from his book. When I was team captain, I armed myself with crystals. Okay. I harnessed the power of the universe to win. So what will you guys be bringing to like any tricks up your sleeves, or is that like hush hush? Do you guys have any any props or anything that you're going to bring to really get your team excited?
And just to add on to that real quick, if you guys don't know, Tori Tekken was team captain one year, and she got an axe because they were the Beanie Barbarians. And everybody who finished their 5 books got their name on the axe.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was the coolest idea of all time, because it was this great community builder. So that's what I'm just stealing that idea from Tori.
Yeah, and now she has a keepsake to remember her time being the Beanie Barbarian team captain. So
Right.
I think that was cute. I just always have pockets. I have my pockets, and my bra are always filled with crystals. So that's just where that came from. I just always have them on me.
Very uncomfortable bra.
You get used to it. You guys don't know, Shauna. You understand. You just get used to it. You stuff stuff in there sometimes, and it's just another pocket. You guys wish you had as many pockets as we did, okay?
We have half as many.
But we have an extra pouch. So, Andy, Rob, Shauna, have you guys thought anything about like particular ways that you want to encourage your team? Or are you still bubbling those ideas, or are they all secrets that you don't want to share?
So last night, Tori, sorry, Shauna, go ahead.
Oh, no. Well, I was just going to say, the only thing I was thinking of is like if everyone in the team wanted to try to read at similar times, so we could have like group reading sessions.
Reading sprints. That's fun.
Yes. So yeah, reading sprint is the actual name for that. I'm very long-winded. Like if I can say something in 20 words instead of 2, I will. Yeah, so I want my group just to be nice. It's like a serene reading group, secretly competitive, but serene.
I love that vibe.
Yeah,
You
and I
should-
normally, when I'm doing things like this, I plant something. So I might have like a readathon plant or shrub or
I love
something that I'm
that.
going to do. Yeah.
That's cool.
I love. Do you have a green thumb? Because it'll be a bad omen if it dies in the next 30 days.
I haven't killed any plants yet. My dad is a very, very good gardener. So
That's
he always
incredible.
keeps me on the straight and narrow with
I could kill
looking
a
after things.
cactus.
There we
Give
go,
me
Kat.
30 days. I could kill a cactus.
So, Andy, what were you saying?
No, I was gonna say last night Tori messaged me about that axe idea, and my brain is spinning. I still haven't come up with the idea yet, but she, like, knowing that she has won so often gives me confidence that we are going to dominate this competition. Just as soon as I can figure out what to do.
You just woke Rob up. Rob's like, excuse me.
My team's not winning. You know, we're just here for fun.
I don't know
I
if I
see-
believe
I'm
And
that.
that's the story I'm keeping right until the teams groups
Yeah,
get
I
locked.
can see your
And then the whip comes out.
strategy.
Yeah.
I can see your strategy. I know that you guys are kind of going by Team Lawless, Team Hayes, Team Pelican, but have you thought at all about maybe coming up with a little team name just for you and your group to kind of like rally behind? I mean, we
And
never
we-
really talked about it. You don't have to. I just thought, it might be maybe you could have jerseys printed. Maybe you could all have hats or something. I don't know, a logo, a website.
And if and when you guys decide that you would like a different team name other than your last name, let me know and we'll get the title of your private channel changed to whatever your team
Yep.
members. And everyone will have their own team colors, and whoever wins for the week gets their color placed highest on the Discord so they show up first.
Ooh.
Okay,
See,
can
I
I
love
dibs
little
green?
things like that.
If I dibs green now, because I feel green goes with the Irishness of my books.
Nice.
That's fair. That's fair.
I don't think there's a better name that we've had yet. Yeah, because of Madison's bra filled with crystals, her team was called the Crystal Ballers, which I just thought was phenomenal.
And before that, we were pros before hoes.
I like it.
So those are taken. But anything else is free game.
I'm gonna have to think then.
Well, guys,
think
here
I'm
pretty soon, I'm going to have to go pick kids up from the school bus stop. But just because I have to slink out does not mean you guys cannot just keep on chit-chat. Oh, there's Theo.
Are you going to be in Vancouver? You are in Vancouver.
Yeah, I live in Vancouver as of last weekend.
Woo!
Wow.
I know I moved, and then the week afterward is the Vancouver Fan Expo that I just finished yesterday. So
Awesome.
I still live in boxes. What you see behind me is my lovely bookshelf that has been set up for 2 days, and the rest of my office is just madness.
That's funny.
Wow.
Well, if you
I
don't
love
know...
how every author, whenever they move, the first thing they do is like, got to get my bookshelves up.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Andy, do you know Theo, Rekindled Reader?
I don't think we've met in person.
You
believe
should
we've
definitely
connected
hang
on.
out. You're
Yeah.
both two like really tall, bearded, cool guys who read cool books. So I'm sure you would hit it off. He's
Okay,
good
good.
people.
Yeah. Most importantly, the books are set up. Okay. Well, Mads, you have to go. We're an hour in, and I don't want to take up too much of anybody's time. So I just want to thank you all so much for being a part of this. So click on the link below, join in for the readathon, and we will see you there on the 1st.
All right.
What day is the first? Just so, is it a Saturday?
Saturday.
Ooh,
Saturday.
Okay, that's good. That's a good day to start a readathon.
Yep. Everybody will
Absolutely.
get assigned on Friday during the
Terrible
day.
day. I've got a card game tournament on Saturday. Can we start it on the Sunday? Can we shift,
Sure,
shift
Rob.
the first into the Sunday? That's the thing? Yeah.
We'll just change the whole calendar, okay?
Yeah.
That'll be perfect. All right. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you in a bit.